Hey everyone, Jeff here from Hot Tub Owner HQ, and I've got plenty of videos that talk about how to drain a hot tub, and I've got one that talks about how to do a biofilm clean out of bacteria buildup when you drain your hot tub. If you haven't seen those videos and you don't know what I'm talking about, you are going to want to watch those videos, so I'll put a link to those down below in the description, and you'll see a card for it up on the screen towards the end of this video. But I've already drained my hot tub and I did a biofilm clean out before I drained it, which is what I do every time I drain mine, and I drain mine about every 3 months or so. What this video is going to cover is now both how to get rid of the excess water that my submersible pump doesn't get rid of when it drains, and then how to clean the hot tub safely and correctly so that when you fill it back up again, which I'm going to do here shortly, my water is going to be pristine. So right out of the gate, just know that if you're using a submersible pump like this one, which is what I use to drain my hot tub with, and I'm going to link to this down on Amazon down below in the description, just in case you want to check it out. It'll drain my hot tub in about 15 minutes. If I use the garden hose method of draining it, it takes about 2 hours. So for me, this is well worth it. But this thing is afloat, and if I raise it up, you can hear the motor kick in. It's designed that way, obviously, because there's not an on-off switch. And when you drop it in the water, it kicks on automatically because this thing is floating. And when it gets down to below a certain level, it kicks off automatically so that you don't burn out the motor. It's a safety feature to keep your pump in good working order. But it does leave a little bit of water towards the bottom of the hot tub that we need to get rid of if we want to make sure our hot tub is completely clean before we fill it back up again. So let me get this thing out of the way. I'm done with that. The best way to get this excess water out, and I'm going to position the camera a little bit better so you can see what I'm talking about, but there's little pockets of water on the seats and then in the little floorboard area. The best way to get that out is going to be with a wet dry vac. However, if you notice, I've got some scum buildup left from the biofilm clean out, and I kind of want to wash that off and then kind of maybe hose the whole thing down a little bit and then do the wet dry vac so that I'm not having to do that twice. So let's get rid of this kind of scum here before we do anything else. So what I like to use to clean my hot tub is a mix of water and white vinegar, a 50-50 mix. I just put it in an old spray bottle like that one. I don't ever want to use anything that creates soap bubbles. So no soap, no detergents, anything like that. I've even had issues with cleaning products such as Simple Green before. I think if you don't want to use vinegar or you don't have it handy, I do think glass cleaner probably would work okay, because that's not going to lead to foam and sudsing when you fill the water back up again. But I do like white vinegar and water. It's pretty simple, it's all natural, non-toxic, and it works really, really well. So I just have some old rags like these, and I'm just going to kind of spray some of this on here. This is kind of baked on because I drained my hot tub over an hour ago prior to getting ready for the video, and it's a little baked on there since the sun's out today. So I'm going to spray that directly on here as well, and I'm just going to kind of clean it off as best as I can. May take me a minute, so I'm not going to torture you with watching me clean, but you'll see a little bit of this in fast forward time, and then we'll be right back for the next step. Okay, so I'm done wiping down the hot tub where the soap ring was essentially from the biofilm cleaner. I feel like the whole perimeter is now pretty clean. We do have the water remaining at the bottom of the hot tub. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me get you a better view of that. Okay, so as you can see, there's a little bit of water at the bottom of each seat area and then more in the footrest area. And that's all water that neither a hose would get rid of or the submersible pump that I use. Now, one common question people ask me is they ask if they can leave this water and just top it off with fresh water, and will that be okay? And the answer is yes. There is obviously going to be probably some bacteria in this water. I can clearly see debris, like pieces of sand and maybe even gravel and leaves and things like that. Sometimes that's referred to as total dissolved solids or contaminants. And obviously the more fresh water you add, the smaller the overall percentage is going to be of those things once you've filled up the hot tub. So really it probably is okay to just leave this. I don't do that though, and it's because I don't want this. I want to use this opportunity to get rid of all this kind of excess debris. Let me show you a close-up of what I'm talking about. So you should be able to see this. I've got it zoomed in pretty well, but there's a lot of debris on the floor here where the feet go when you're soaking in this thing. And if I just top this off, all of that's still going to be in there. Like I mentioned, it's going to be a relatively small percentage of the total amount of water volume that's going to be in this thing when I fill it back up again. But I'd rather take the extra 10 or 15 minutes now to get rid of that so that my hot tub water is going to be as pristinely clear and clean as possible. And the best way to do that is going to be with a wet dry vac. And that's what I'm going to show you now. If you don't have a wet dry vac, I highly recommend getting one just because it will make this process go a lot smoother. And again, this is something you want to do every 3 months or so. And then real quick, before I get going fully on the vacuuming, I just wanted to, as I mentioned, I'm going to give a quick rinse everywhere I cleaned just to make sure any remaining chemical residue gets rinsed down to the bottom so I can vacuum it out. So I've got my hose going here. Just going to give it a kind of just a very quick rinse everywhere I cleaned. That's all I'm going to do. Now I'm going to cut the water back off again and vacuum this out. This is the wet dry vac that I use. It's from Stinger, and it just, it's just like a normal vacuum cleaner. If I want to suck the water, I plug the tube into this front end, and if for some reason I wanted to use it as a blower, I would just plug it into the back end there. And the water collects down here, and obviously it is running off of electricity, so it is plugged into the wall. So you do want to be careful about that, but it's obviously designed for water to go inside of it. So really it's pretty safe. And I'm just going to I'm not going to turn it on yet because it will be loud. I'm just going to kind of stick the hose down in each of these pockets and vacuum this out. The way that the amount that this holds is probably such that I'm going to have to do this and then dump the water and do it some more, probably 5 or 6 times to get all of this water out. But mostly what I want to get out is that debris. So it's okay if there's a tiny bit of water left as long as it's free of debris. But I'm going to do that now. I'm going to show it to you a little bit in sped up time and without all the noise of this thing, just so you can kind of see that process a little bit. Let's go. I'm done with the wet dry vac. Got almost all the water out, almost all the debris out that was present there on the bottom. It's worth pointing out that it did require me to climb in there with the wet dry vac to get everything. And to do that, I took my shoes off and just walked around in socks so that I'm not tracking, I should say, anything into the newly pristinely clean hot tub that might have been on my shoes. So just a little tip there to help everything go that much smoother. But now I think we're really pretty much ready to fill this thing back up again. If you noticed while I was cleaning the hot tub, you did see me put the filters back in. I do take those out when I do the biofilm clean out, and that's to prevent them from getting clogged. It's also a good opportunity for me to rinse them off with the sprayer at my kitchen sink, and then I put them back in once I was done. Now this thing is ready to be filled back up again. But I did just want to very quickly kind of show you what it looks like now. As you can see, almost all the water is gone and virtually all of the debris is gone that was floating around there on the bottom. Even if there's a tiny bit of debris left, it's nowhere near as much as it was. And it will be an infinitesimally, if I can say that correctly, small percentage of the total when I fill this thing back up with pretty nice new clear water. I don't know why I said pretty nice new clear water. Anyway, water from my garden hose that's not dirty. I hope you enjoyed this video and getting to see me work and get my hands dirty for a change. And I hope it helps you better understand how to take care of cleaning your hot tub after you've drained it before you fill it back up again to get the very best out of the new water that you're putting into your hot tub. If you like this video and want to see more of it, please give me a thumbs up. It sends a great message to YouTube and they're going to show my video to more people. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.